Hello everybody, I'm Mkuu Mzee, and I'm in the building, actually the library building, here in Columbia, South Carolina, with my friend and buddy, and my confidant, and my teacher, on a lot of different occasions, Baba Imhotep. What's up, my brother?
Abibifahodie, race first. How we doing today? I'm excited to be here with you.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad you made that trip, because just to kind of catch people up on the history. I had promised myself I was going to be up there a couple times. Ever since you had me up to do the Race First rally, which was early last year. Was that 22 or 23?
22.
It was 22. So see, there you go. So I came up there at 22, and then somewhere after that, going into the winter, I had told you I wanted to come up.
Yes.
And at that time, I lost another family member. I forgot my aunt. I lost another family member there. So it was a big deal. I mean, she was one of the favorite aunts of the family, man, and everybody was going off and going crazy. And my uncle, who happens to be the patriarch of the family, he's 95, something like that. He was going through it, man. So, yo, man, what am I supposed to do, man? You're my. Well, I have one more uncle. He's the youngest, which is kind of weird. The oldest is still alive, and the youngest is still alive. The two in the middle are gone, and all my aunts are gone. So it's strange the way that works. But so okay, we're here, man. Everybody knows me, Mkuu Mzee, Racial Awareness Group, and you're from PLM. Give us an idea what PLM is, man.
So PLM is I like to define it as being a revolutionary Pan-Africanist organization that has a principal focus on African sovereignty. And one of the ways in which we feel that can be done is through raising the consciousness of black men and black women. So we place a lot of emphasis on studying the best of African thought as much as we can find it and determine what that is. And we like to try to pattern our behaviors after the best of our ancestral ways. Good. So we use a term called Njia, which translates to mean our way. And by our way, we are referring to our culture.
How do you spell that?
Njia.
Okay.
And then Yetu.
Right. I seen it in your writings. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood.
Yetu, our way. And the reason we began to say our way is because we realized that many people didn't truly understand what culture was, nor do they understand what culture is. And the word culture is being thrown around loosely. And so we wanted to always distinguish ourselves. So we just shift from saying culture to Yetu. Because our emphasis is truly to discover and uncover the best what our ancestors laid down as a foundation and build upon that.
Right.
And that's the essential what PLM is about.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I've always been impressed with you. You guys have been around for a little while. I've always been impressed with your community, man, and you guys are establishing your own nation. Yeah. You ain't got to go into that right now, but it's just you made a lot of strides, and I like what you're doing with your youth, with the young people, which is always important.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Matter of fact, the most important thing you do is working with the youth. And giving us a path to nationhood and sovereignty and independence. I like to put all those concepts into focus. We're just not looking for nationhood. We're not just looking for sovereignty. We're looking for independence, and we're looking for self-sufficiency. We're looking for all those things. Yeah. You go pretty good. You actually highlight that pretty good in urban philosophy, but we'll get into that a little later. We talked about my little rant, I guess you can call it a rant, about being honorable and respectful. Being beyond reproach, is that a possible thing for us to get? Can we ever get there to be beyond reproach? I know it's a difficult question to answer, but based on my experiences with people, they think that they can't be reproached. It's like they can do anything and say anything they want, and you're not supposed to say anything to them. Yes,
I think there are a number of ways to look at it. When I think about being beyond reproach, I believe that good people that's doing good work deserves the respect to be dealt with respect. So even if there is something that I may disagree with from a particular elder that I know is doing good work, and he or she has stood up for decades, being nothing but an upstanding person, then I'm not able to call him or her out in the public and check him or her. He or she deserves that phone call, that one-on-one conversation of respect.
Right.
Right? So I think it's how we do it. Now, to the other side, individuals who just come out the side of their neck saying whatever they want to say, thinking we shouldn't say anything back to them, they're out of line. They should be checked and they should be crushed. You know, but that's, I know that's another level we got to get to. They should be crushed, right? Because we have to
and it's not a nice way to do it a lot of times.
It's not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they're wrong. You know, so it's funny you say it because I had a conversation with a young person. He was asking me about, you know, could he, you know, he think that he should be able to just call certain people out. I said, no, you shouldn't. I said, you can't just call out certain people. Well, I know why it's touchable. I'm not saying that people are untouchable. I'm saying that some people have earned the right to be dealt with respect.
Yes.
I'm saying they've earned that right. And since they've earned the right to be dealt with respect, that's what you gave.
Yeah.
I said, because when you jump out there and do what you want to do because you feel like you have the right to do something and you don't, you breaking the order. And you setting a bad trend.
And there's supposed to be order. We cannot have a nation sovereignty, self-sufficiency, self-dependency, anything like that if we don't have order.
We can't.
You know?
It's not going to exist.
That's why you wrote that book. We'll get into that. I promise you we'll get into that. And then of course you got a new book too, novel. So we'll talk about that. So talking about urban philosophy. Page 70, actually page 51 and 70, you have a section with 36 laws and 360 insights.
Yes.
There's other guiding principles in here, but something drew me to those two sections.
Okay.
The question, okay, first of all, explain what that is, and we want you to buy the book, you know, Urban Philosophy. We want you to buy the book, and also to buy NAMO. Okay, however, explain to me why is it always evident? Why is it so evident that our people need to have structure? Why is it necessary to give people guidelines and direction and you know and barriers and you know things of that nature? What lines not to cross? What lines you can cross? How far you can go without being predatory?
Mm-hmm.
Explain that to me.
That's a great question. What I first came to realize is that African people, I like to say this up front, that I only write for African people, I only think for African people, I only speak for African people. So the things that I come up with are based on African people. So what I understood early on about African people is that we are in fact nature people. We are nature. Like we are in fact the cosmos. And so when I look at the cosmos, I see the structure, the order within the cosmos. So therefore we should be resembling what we see around us. And so then when I began to look at the societies of old, the societies that predates the invasions, you see the structure, you see the order,
right.
You see how we've done things,
right.
The processes that allow us to maximize our growth and development.
Right.
What makes those things important? Because we are human beings and we possess the ability to go either or. So we can go up or go down, right? That's a part of our genius of being human beings. Like we can ascend to our highest heights, or we can sink to the lowest depth.
Yes.
We can do either or.
Yes.
So it becomes incumbent upon us as human beings, we understand human growth and development, to create the structure, the principles, and the prescriptions that's going to maximize our development.
Right.
That's going to move us upward rather than downward.
Right.
So that's why those instructions become important, because at the end of the day, we are supposed to strive towards righteousness. We're supposed to be righteous. And we need those guidelines that's going to move us towards righteousness.
So I told you, man. Introduce yourself real quick, man. You know, because people see me looking over there. Come over here real quick and introduce yourself real fast.
Hello everyone, I'm Bob Will from Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay, all right. I don't want people to get distracted with me looking over there, because my brother, I look at his facial reactions, and then we always have this inside joke about my brother here. And I call him an autodidact. He don't want to be called that, but that's what he is. You got that label, bro. I'm sorry. You got that title.
When it comes from an elder, when it comes from an honorable elder, I accept it.
I appreciate that.
I'm not pushing back.
I appreciate that. What's funny too is about name, you know, your name. And how did your name? Give me the genesis of your name, man. How did you come up with Baba Imhotep?
Imhotep. Oh man, it was a process. So
Okay.
so in 1995,
Okay.
I was in an institution called Supermax.
Oh my goodness.
It's a it's a super maximum security prison located in Baltimore City.
Wow.
So I was there, and I was reading and studying real heavy, and I was trying to educate or reach the younger guys who was in there. And an older guy by the name of Malik, he was there, and he heard me talking and things, and we started talking. So he gave me a name. He gave me the name Zafar, Z-A-F-A-R.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And he told me his reasons for giving me that name. He said, you know, about the lightning wand, this, that, and other.
Okay.
And so I carried that name out of respect for him for a while. Then I ran across another older.
What's the roots of Zafar?
So Zafar was an Islamic name.
Okay.
It was Islamic.
Okay.
So then I ran across another brother that was also doing some work in there, older guy who took a liking to me. Because I stayed in Supermax 2 years. You know, for those who don't know, Supermax, you lock down 23 hours a day. You only get to come out 1 hour a day if they let you out. Right? So I was there for 2 years. You know, so the other brother name was Takuma. So he was like, yeah, I think you more fitting for a Talib.
Okay.
So he gave me the name Talib.
Okay, I'm familiar with Talib.
So I carried Talib for a while. But
Okay.
I'm still studying and reading really hard.
Yeah.
I'm reading great African thinkers
Yeah,
and reading
yeah,
all this
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
right
yeah,
here.
yeah.
And I know I'm trying to get to Africa as much as I could in my mind. You know, Talib was still a little Islamic name.
Right.
And so still studying, and one day, you know, it was a brother came through and he was talking, and he said to me, he said, are you familiar with Imhotep? At the time I was not.
Okay.
This was 1996.
Okay.
I was not in 1996.
Yeah, you didn't get to that part of
Yeah.
Egyptian or
Yeah, I haven't gotten
Kemetic
right,
history
yeah.
yet. Okay.
And he said you look like Imhotep. You know what I'm saying? That's what he said.
You know what?
So that's what he
Well,
said.
damn, you do look like you know what? Yeah. Until you just said
Right,
that.
so
Okay. All
that's
right.
what he said to me, right? I said,
That's weird, man. It's strange.
Wow. So I started from that point on. I had my mother to send me from the bridal file, stolen legacy, and she sent me Now's Out of Contribution to Civilization,
Okay.
1996, and that was the birth of it. So I started studying and reading, and then I let Talib go, and I took on Imhotep.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I've been Imhotep since 1996.
Okay. And the Baba came out of respect for.
The Baba came out of respect for the work over the years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I became Baba Imhotep around 2012.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Just being consistent and doing the work, because I started working, reading and studying in the end of 1992.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't know I've been doing this consistently for over 30 years.
Wow.
Like this ain't like when
Yeah.
people hear me talk, they hear my passion. It's because I fought these Europeans, I fought these white people.
Right.
I've been nerve gassed. I've been
Right.
dumped in the hole. I've been stripped naked by these people.
Wow.
So I know how vicious they
Nah,
can be.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I've seen them firsthand. I've seen the white boys in Hagerstown call their homeboys and their cousins and uncles in there to come in there and beat us. So I've
Wow.
seen this. You see what I'm saying? I've been in the hole in Hagerstown, Maryland, when white people come in the cells at night and drag you out, and you don't see that brother again. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen these. I know
Wow.
who they are.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So when
Yeah.
a person hear me, I'm not just talking.
Yeah,
because
you're not
I'm
just
angry.
talking.
I'm not mad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything inside
Yeah.
me is completely refined rage.
Yeah.
Because I know exactly who they are.
And I
right?
love that term,
Yeah.
defined rage.
Yeah, so
I
that's
love
what
that,
it is.
man.
That's what's
Yeah,
going on.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So I know who they are.
Yeah.
So when I say the things that I say, it's because I mean it, I've lived it, and I've been pushing back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I have literally fought these peoples behind the wall, and they could never break me or bend me. You know, so I don't
Yeah.
break it, I don't bend.
Man, let me tell you something, man. You just brought back a memory. Now, you again, you have the advantage. And you asked me before, when did I come into consciousness? We use that word loosely around here, consciousness.
Yeah.
You know, we do it for context. People understand when you say conscious, and they know what you mean. You start studying.
That's right.
That don't mean anything else. You know, spiritual, none of that kind of stuff. So when I came into consciousness, it was really basically after I recovered from my addiction. I always drank alcohol, always smoked marijuana, always snorted coke and all that shit, and Monster and speed. But then when I got into that crack,
Whew.
you know what I mean? Because all the so-called packers running around the neighborhood, you know what I mean? Of course, I was working, making good money. In the book I wrote, Art of Leadership, I talk about my history a little bit.
Okay.
And I became a high-profile manager. Art of Leadership, yeah. And came a high-profile manager in the contract management game for buildings, managing buildings, environmental structures and stuff like that, employee spaces, environmental spaces, food. I was even into food, landscaping, security, full service accounts. Some of the hospitals I worked in was full service accounts. I actually ran all the service facilities and departments inside that hospital. So I had a pretty good position, and I was very lucky to get there, and I was making good money. But here I am, venturing in, because I was always getting high. I talk about it in the book. I was always getting high. I never stopped getting high, but it was manageable. Okay, so a friend of mine said, "Man, come on, man. We got these women, we got this, we got that, and we're talking about 90. I don't know, 90. Right around the time you got yourself together, 92. I had just got into the funk of addiction, and so all the evidence was around me, man. People running around like zombies.
Yeah, right.
I'm in the hit house. I'm like, man, man, how you let yourself get that bad, man? Get out of here, man. You know what I mean? I was like, all my horse, because I had this intelligence. I was, always a very intelligent dude. But I said, my constitution is good. All this other stuff never took me down. This crack ain't gonna take me down. Man, next thing I know, man, my paychecks was gone. My car was gone. You know what I mean?
Crack the real deal.
I just sold my coat. You know what I mean? And I was walking home, and I lived in Jersey at that time. So here, leaving from Philadelphia, had to get into a high-speed line, jump the train, get home, and then walk 3 or 4 miles from the train station to get home. And I went through that, man. I was like, man, ego and false pride will get you every damn time. I ain't never going to be like that person. You know what I mean? But the answer to get to where I started this at, I didn't get into consciousness until I had to go through 4 or 5 years of that, going in and out of rehab. I went into detox a couple times. Then my last time in was in '94, and I did it right that time. I went a whole year detox, short-term rehab, and then full-term rehab. In-house rehab. And I came out and I got back into my profession. So it took me another 2 years to get there. So I lost 6 years around that time. So we're talking about 96, 97. Even then, I still didn't know, where I was going. And I had met my second wife, because at that point my first wife wanted a divorce, and I didn't blame her. And I willingly gave her the divorce. I said, you know what? Even though I'm telling you I got myself together, you have to have the right to do what you need to do for your life based on your experiences. And her experience with me said she had to move on and do her thing. Yeah. So I had to let her do that. And we became best friends from that point on until the day she died last year. Wow. And I told y'all about that then. So 2000, then I got married the second time, and I wasn't really into the knowledge yet until around 2008 when Facebook came along. Okay. And so 2008, somewhere in 2009, I joined Facebook, and I started, kind of gravitating towards this other stuff that was going on. And I just became a voracious reader after that. I just kept buying books. I got books in my library I still haven't got to yet, because sometimes that's what we do.
That's right.
But I know I can go there when I want it and get there and get it. So yeah, 97 all the way up until 2000, 2007. It's about 10 years to find myself. You know what I mean? Going through the second marriage. So the second marriage was one of those things was I didn't do that first one right, but I got to do this second one right. And I devoted my life to my second wife. And even though I did all that, there were some differences between the two individuals, the personalities, and we still had to move on. So anybody that comes to me as an elder says, man, what do you think about what I want to do about my marriage, man? What? Don't ask me. Don't ask me. I mean, I can give you good advice based on my experiences and what not to do, but I choose not to get into relationship stuff. A lot of people ask me about relationship advice. I just don't do it. I just don't get there. You can. You've been in, you know, in a beautiful marriage for quite a while. How long you been married to?
March make 19 years.
See, there you go. Yeah, yeah. Very, very, very. It's a very privileged thing to be in that position, man, and to have a woman by your side like that.
Yes, it is.
You know.
It minimizes so much
Yeah.
heartaches. It makes it easier. You know, and the thing is, we find joy in one another. We can laugh together.
Right.
You know, and that's the good thing.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And then we know when to get serious work together.
Yeah. I see that. So, so right around 2008, 2009, I just got involved. You know, obviously as a young person in the knowledge, it took me a while to get my sea legs under me. You know what I mean? Find out who the so-called pseudo word, you know, that we use a lot. Who was pseudo, who's the real teachers, who was the real scholars, and stuff like that. I went through that phase, you know, I mean, the Delbert Blairs and who's the dude that talks about always wears the celestial hats all the time, the light-skinned brother.
Valentine?
Yeah, Valentine, you know, guys like that, man. I was like, I mean, they're great, you know, when you're out here, you know, for the first time. It's a good start, I guess, to get you started. But you know, I had to kind of sort through what was the legitimate stuff or what was not. And like I said, I became a voracious reader, and here I am. So yeah, I'm behind a lot, but I think a lot of it with my maturity and my life experiences gives me an opportunity to really understand what true scholarship is and what I can focus on and what I can discern as being valid stuff. I don't get caught up with the nonsense anymore.
Yes.
When I read a book, I can tell automatically whether it's bullshit or not. And or that person is not, not where they're supposed to be.
I don't keep them.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest,
exactly.
I don't keep them. I've grown, and I got like that from Malcolm X.
Okay.
Because my second time reading his autobiography, I read the autobiography in 1991.
Okay.
I didn't really grasp it. I
Right.
should in 1991.
Right.
And I read it again in 1996. And one of the things he said in that stood out to me was that he said there came a point in time when I no longer read aimlessly. I began to read more selectively.
Right.
And then I realized what he meant. It wasn't about just picking and grabbing everything up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so much crap out here. If you're trying to read everything, you'll be reading forever.
Right.
The wrong stuff, right? So you got to know where you're trying to go and what
Right.
you're trying to do, what
Right.
you're trying to build into yourself.
Right.
To be selective.
Right.
And so like there are certain books that I come across and I start reading the book. This is bull crap. The author's bull crap and what he or she is talking about is bull crap, right? So it meets the garbage can.
Right.
And I may spend $25 for the book. It still
Right.
meet the garbage can.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just me. I'm not saying that's how other people got to be. That's where I'm at
That's
because
where you are.
because I take what I'm doing serious. My
Right.
time is serious. And at my book space, I don't have a bunch of book space, right? So I can't afford to have that up there
Yeah.
because you take up some valuable space. Simple as
That's
that.
true.
That space is valuable.
Yeah.
I need that for somebody else. So you got to go. Hit the trash can.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at with it.
You talk about So I came into this thing behind the eight ball at an advanced age, behind a lot of people, such as yourself. A lot of people came in early on as young people. They had guidance from other adults and older people in the community that steered them to the lectures and to the books and stuff like that. I don't know what it was about Southwest Philadelphia. I don't know what it was about that with my crew. We didn't have anybody, even our family members, my family members, their family members, the peripheral people. We had nobody that talked about Dr. Ben. So we're talking about the late 60s and into the 70s. Dr. Ben and them, they was popping at that time.
Yes.
Dell Jones, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
A lot of the great scholars out of Philadelphia, nobody told us anything about them. We were on the corner smoking joint, drinking beer.
Yeah.
I wish somebody had introduced me to that. Maybe things would have been a little bit different. But you know what? It was meant to be.
Yeah. Because the thing is this, and I tell people all the time because they always ask the question like I had people ask me, do you wish you could have an opportunity to go to college? I say no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why? You know what I'm saying? I said because I don't. What I need to go to college for? You know what I'm saying? Because I believe me personally, I'm so confident in who I am and where I'm at, what I've done. I don't believe that no other experience could have produced the Bob Imhotep.
No.
I think the only experience that could have produced the Bob Imhotep is the experience that I went through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I have to cherish and respect that experience, and that's the same for you.
Yes.
There's no other experience that could have produced you where you are.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So you had to go through what you went through, because what it does, right, it gives you unique insight and knowledge about that other stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that other stuff is valuable.
Yeah.
It made a worn us down in some areas and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's still, that's a part of our community. And we need people that specializes in understanding that. Because you can't go to college and get that understanding.
No, you can't.
I don't care how many degrees you get in college.
Right.
You don't get a clear understanding of how to reconnect with the brothers that's standing on the corner, that's drinking the beer, smoking the weed. College can't get that.
Can't get that. And once you get indoctrinated, especially in your educational system, your value system is different.
That's right.
You know, your whole value system, your base, your foundation is all screwed up. So you can't do the right thing anyway. Right? But that brings back to right where we was at. And I appreciate the conversation, man, because, you know, me and you, we shoot it and we kick it off and everything else. And we go into left field or the right field, then we come back into center. You know what I mean? We do get there eventually. We had always talked amongst ourselves in our conversations about contemporary perspective and approaches.
Yes.
Urban philosophy is exactly what that is.
Yes.
Okay? It's a contemporary look at what we should be as African people. And that don't mean that you're gonna, go and genuflect and pray 5 times a day. It means something totally different. Explain what that is.
Great question. Great point. So your urban philosophy is a contemporary. For me, urban philosophy becomes a reframing of the narrative. And that reframing of the narrative is understanding who we were as African people and not getting stuck in 1555, 1364. You know what I'm saying? Not being stuck in 2000 BC.
We get stuck,
You know,
don't
we get stuck there. You know what I'm saying? So urban philosophy is a look. It's a look at that. It's an understanding of that. But then it's saying, what can we extract? And how, once we extract it, how do we make it applicable today?
Now.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what urban philosophy about. How do we answer the problems of the crack cocaine? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a real problem. You
Right.
say, how do we answer the problem of all the violence that we're dealing with?
They got this new shit out here now.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So urban philosophy becomes an answer to that.
Right.
It allows us to take ancient knowledge and make it relative to our current situation.
Right. Go back to my question I asked you earlier. Why do we need that structure?
We need the structure because the structure is going to make us. It's going to maximize our development. It's going to allow us to be more effective.
Okay.
The structure and the discipline is what allows us to get things done.
So those insights and those laws and those
That's
things
designed
are going to help us do that.
They will help us do that.
Why we find ourselves there where we need to have the structure?
We find ourselves there needing the structure because we have been. I like to use the terminology destructuralized.
I like that.
We have been destructuralized.
Yeah.
Right? It has been stripped from us. Like the
Right.
whole idea of having structure, we push against. We
Right.
think structure is it's irrelevant and insignificant. So we don't want no structure. We think structure deprives us of being our quote unquote individual or independent person. We think it undermines us. When structure doesn't do any of that. Structure is what it builds all that up. It's the foundation to your manhood and your womanhood. Right? It doesn't strip you of that. And we got to make people understand that because the structures allow us to be effective. We can start at point A and get to point B and also get all the way down to Z with the structure.
Right.
When there's no structure, you start at A and then you go all the way over here. And then you don't even know how to get back to B. And that's what a lot of us say.
Right.
That's the reason why we can't have meaningful dialogues collectively because there's no structure in people's mind. Right? It always turns out to be something else.
And that's where that goes back to that reproach stuff we
That's
talked
right.
about.
Yeah.
Goes right back to that.
That's what we're dealing with.
And I found myself in a very difficult situation sometimes because as an older person who's been through the experiences that I've been in, I finished talking about that, and a whole lot of both positive and negative experience. For me, the negative experience and the positive stuff, fight my way out of it, becoming the person I've become. And I look at books such as yours. I look at books for Tdka, Kilimanjaro, the book called My Eye. Everybody loves that book. It's all about structure. It's all about structure. But I find myself, and I want you to be honest with me and respond to what I'm getting ready to say. I find myself looking at that, Ma'at, and all those other principles as being valid, as being needed, as being necessary. I'm not naive enough to know that our people don't need that. But for me, I don't feel as though I have to depend on that, because I think, again, I find myself in a very, very difficult situation. I don't need you to tell me when to do the right and wrong thing. I don't need to know when you call me, I'll call you back. I don't need to know when if I'm given an opportunity to do something with somebody, that I don't say, well, that person's not worthy of my time and my attention.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And other things that I've experienced myself, going on first, social media, trying to build with other elders, reaching out to, and people hear me say this all the time. I know they think I'm bitching, and I am bitching. I'm not going to apologize for that. For me to reach out to an elder, both male and females, and then they say, well, I don't get nothing back. Now you allow me to come up with a conclusion and an opinion about you, because you have not felt the time to make the time to get back to me. What? And I'm not worthy because of what? Like you, I don't have the credentials. I don't have a PhD behind my name. You know what I mean? So I find myself in a very difficult situation sometimes. I don't lean on those things that our people need. I understand that it's a very necessary thing. So give me some feedback on what I just said, man.
So my first feedback will be this right here. You don't need it, but the understanding that you have didn't develop in the back here.
Exactly.
See, somewhere it was already put there.
Exactly.
So you just had to be one of those individuals that had certain experiences, had something around you that instilled that in you. So therefore, yeah, you at a place now, like, whereas though you don't necessarily need the manual.
Right.
But because you don't need the manual doesn't mean that many others don't need the manual.
And that's why I qualified it with,
yeah.
I know it's a very necessary thing.
Because so many need the manual because they just don't have it. They don't have it.
Right.
And if we don't provide them with the manual, we're gonna continue to crash.
Right, we are.
And that's what's happening.
We are.
Like I would like to I can go as far as to say that I don't need the manual.
Okay.
Because I understand I have the type of discipline and the self-initiative to do what's right.
Right.
And I understand the importance of good relationships.
Right.
So for me, I know that there are things that I'm supposed to do. I must keep my word. Right, that's very important. I must reciprocate. That's very important.
Right.
But that had to be instilled.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what it comes down to. What it comes down to is how do we instill these things into individuals?
Right.
Like even such as yourself, in your unique situation that you're in. Like you said, you might reach out to different elders who, for various reasons, may not reciprocate.
Right.
And then that puts you in a situation where so now you're left to draw this conclusion.
Right.
This is my position. I believe at the end of the day, those of us who understand and know, I think that our lives should be an example of how things should be, right? So as an elder that has that unique experience, I think that as an elder, then you teach that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It may not necessarily be, you going live and anything, right? Then you teach that. Then that becomes a principle of yours to make sure that no other elder had to experience what you experienced.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No other elder should experience that.
Right.
Elders should know that if an elder is taking an opportunity out of his or her life to connect, then you should, in fact, if you say you're an elder, right, then you should have the knowledge and the understanding to know the importance of building on a relationship. Right? Because you say you're African descendant, you say you stand in African thought and African philosophy.
And you talking all this Gucci shit online.
Right. You know that's our way. Our way is to be connected.
Yeah.
And for you not to make no effort to connect, I call that into question.
And I also want to make a qualifying comment here too on what you just said. Just because you call me back or anybody back doesn't mean that you have to make a commitment. It's just a matter of common decency and respect.
Yeah.
That don't mean that we have to be lifelong friends and buddy buddies and go out eat dinner every night and treat me to a movie and all that. None of that stuff has to happen. You know what I mean? That's not. Maybe people are thinking that something like that has to happen when they when people reach out to them and say, oh man, I ain't got no time for no relationships or whatever. Again, I'm just throwing stuff out there. I don't know. But again, for me, you kind of validated what I already know. I got to continue on my particular path of being that example.
That's right.
And I just got to continue to do what I need to do. And I know it's the right thing to do. And people reach out to me, I'll reach back out. That's not going to stop me from being who I need to be.
That's right. And that's what it's about, And to the point where I've come to realize in all my years, I'm at the place now, what's today's date? February the 3rd, 2024. I can confidently state that I'm clear that many of us do not know how to do the work. I'm clear about that.
That's a very good
We do not know how to do it. We do not understand the importance of being decent. We do not understand what reciprocity truly is. We do not have a concept of ma'at, even though we may regurgitate ma'at and run all those principles down. We do not understand what ma'at really is. I believe we are working from a place of ignorance in reference to what it means to do the work. And that's because most of us have not went to any type of institution or actually apprentice under anyone who can really show them how the work is done. We are shooting from the hip and we are crashing.
That's true. That's very true. Oh man, so jumping from urban philosophy over to NAMO, where is it's a natural, what is it? Is it a natural progression, a natural synthesis of going into a more spiritual thought and behavior system? Tell me how you went from urban philosophy into. Are they connected? Are they not connected? Is there a growth thing that we see here with the philosophy going into something more deep? Explain to us what the book NAMO is all
so urban philosophy is the philosophy, is the thought and behavior system out of which the thinking behind NOMO derived.
Okay.
Right? That's coming out of urban philosophy. So yes, they are connected.
Okay.
So when we get from urban philosophy to NOMO, we get into an attempt to explain these different aspects and facets of African spiritual beingness. Because oftentimes, when our people hear the word spirituality, what they conceive is religion.
Yes.
They hear spirituality, but what pops up in their brain is religion. And therein begins the beginning to the confusion of what it means to be spiritual. We think spiritual is flighty. We think spiritual is just, mystic and all abstract, right? No, true spirituality, manifests in the social realm, right? That's why that's the only place you can see it at,
right,
is in the social realm. Now we know there's a spiritual realm, but spiritual awareness manifests socially, right? It's what you do socially that's going to determine how spiritual you are.
Yes.
Like your inability to be decent, you can't tell me you a spiritual priest and you nasty and mean.
Yes.
Right?
You
can't sell it to me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You nasty, you mean, you lying, you conniving,
right,
you a thief, you manipulative,
right,
but then you want me to think, you want me to call you some type of spiritual priest?
Right.
Not me,
no,
not Bob Imhotep. You can sell it to a fool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to determine who you are spiritually by how you are socially.
Yes.
So that's what NOMO was about. Help us understand that.
Yeah, man, because on page 70 going to 71, spirit living is a personal practice, but a communal affair. You just said that. It is a process pervaded with ancestral veneration. Spirit living speaks to your connection with your ancestors. In addition, spirit living reflects your awareness and understanding of the divinities. Whatever you do for the ancestors and the divinity is ultimately for your own spiritual growth, development, and expansion, for your spiritual edification. Spirit living facilitates spiritual ascension. Spirit living is about you, and it is for your own spiritual benefit. Spirit living is how you become a better person, and enhance and more refined person. Spirit living transforms you to better equip you to relate to, interact with your people and nature. And that's what credibility is all about.
That's right.
Okay, because if you don't have that as your foundation, you ain't shit.
You ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what titles you carry.
Right.
And that's the problem with us, right? We caught up on the titles.
Right.
So a lot of times, we worry about the title a person got or the PhD or all these other things.
Right.
Now let me be real clear, because we hear things, and because of our own insecurities, we misinterpret what we hear. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta qualify.
I'm most definitely not against anybody who have achieved the PhD. I want people to be clear about that. But I do know that a lot of our people believe that the title makes the person. The title doesn't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I've come across, you see what I'm saying, some crooks with a PhD behind them.
Yes.
I've come across some total imbeciles
right,
with a PhD behind
right,
them. You see what I'm saying? I have met, you know what I'm saying, some of the nastiest people who say they are spiritual priests.
And you know what the ugly part about that is? Tdka Kilimanjaro is a PhD. Everybody knows who he is, right? He's probably going to go down as one of the more influential scholars that came up in our present time, and he's going to be known for that after he goes away. But you know, when Tdka Kilimanjaro when we decided to do this project together, right? And he told me, now he didn't go into any names because he's a decent, respectable dude. But he told me that there was plenty of people who were PhDs and said, "Why are you writing a book with that dude?" That just goes back to what you just said.
Yes.
Okay, what do you mean? I don't have the qualifications in your mind to write a book with another PhD because I don't have the PhD behind my name. You know, so I know who those people are. And I'm not going to put them on blast here. You know what I mean? But we and other people know. We know in the community who these people are, and you may know some people I don't know who are like that. Mm-hmm. But we need to get out of this shit. We need to come out of this, man.
I remember talking to Dr. Wade Nobles one time. We had a nice conversation. And out of respect, I asked him a question. I said, "How do you prefer for me to address you? As Bible Wade Nobles or Dr. Wade Nobles?" He looked me in the eyes, and what he told me was this. He said, "I respect Bible over doctor any day." He said, "This is just a piece of paper." You know what I'm saying?
I love that dude, man.
I love Dr.
I never met him.
I love Dr. Wade Nobles.
Never
He's
talked
down
to
to
him.
earth.
Everything I heard about this dude's been 100%.
Up down to earth, right? And he said, now don't get me wrong, yeah, I earned this. I went to school for this.
Yeah.
He said, but they say what matters most to me is how my people see me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because in most cases, not everybody, a lot of people that got, degrees in most cases, you know what I'm saying, it's like they received it from some European, some type of European accreditation, which is okay, like I say, not against it. But I think that we make a very bad mistake to discredit or attempt, because nobody can discredit me anyway. So
right.
And neither you, right?
Right.
So
I'm not gonna let nobody do that.
They can't discredit, regardless of how they may feel. You know what I'm saying? That's their twisted value system.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I think it's a great book. And I think him writing the book with you can be viewed as you writing the book with him. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the basis of urban philosophy.
Right.
Like we reframe the narrative. You see what I'm saying? Both of y'all wrote the book with each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Equally qualified great men that's standing on principle put out a great book that people can read and learn some things from.
Do you think that all the things that you had just related and what you just talked about how you had to have this foundation, in spirit, you got to have this foundation in spirit, your connection with with our heritage, with our ancestors, and with our nationhood, our proud nationhood that we come out of. If we don't have that and the decency part and all this kind of stuff, if we don't have none of that,
we're doomed.
We're done.
Yes.
We're done. We're done, man. Going back into what you were saying about how Urugu, and I'll just use the word Urugu, to talk about who we're talking about, how ruthless they can be, or how daring they can be now. Now, there is the conversation about Gaza, right? About how they're so, how Israel is so wrong in bombing the people in Gaza, and we're not talking about politics. We're just talking about nature at this point right now. Every time about how ruthless that is, how it's genocide, all that kind of stuff. I want to bring this to everybody's attention here. When actual war conflicts, just in the last century, whole cities have been destroyed with the people in it. Because we don't have a sense of history, especially with Urugu. Mm-hmm. Why are we surprised at what they did in Gaza? And that's lightweight stuff right there. Anyway, based on what happened in World War II, let me just give you an example. Berlin, World War II, totally destroyed when Russia came in there. They had to rebuild that. Dresden in '45, that was firebombed with what they call the incendiary bombs. They specifically used incendiary bombs because they know that if they destroyed that whole city, that they'll break the back of the German people. So they went there, they purposely going to kill civilians, not the army. That's a civilian city. Grozny, Chechnya, 99, 2000. the whole city destroyed. Hamburg, destroyed. Hiroshima, we know about Hiroshima. Vietnam, the Tet Offensive came in there and destroyed that. Hull, England, that's when Germany first started bombing England, destroyed Hull, England. Mosul, Iraq, we know what we did with Mosul, Iraq, what the United States did there. Hiroshima again, Nagasaki, Japan, Raqqa, Syria. We know what happened with Raqqa, Syria, obviously. Tokyo, another example of the United States using incendiary bombs to bomb really basically 1/3 of the city of Tokyo was destroyed with incendiary. Nobody talks about that. That killed more people than the atomic bombs did.
Yes.
That killed 100,000 people. But don't talk about that. Warsaw, Poland, and then of course Gaza, where we at right now. So far right now, 22,000. Since I wrote this, this was 2 weeks ago. And it's probably up in numbers now, probably even more than that now. 22,000 up to 30,000 people. So why are we surprised about Urugu doing what they do? And I just want to put it out there. If you are a student of history, not just African history, but if you're a student of history, you would know this stuff. You know,
Yes.
the history of the European is just is almost as important as the African history.
Yeah.
In order for us to understand where we're at. Give me your feedback.
Yeah, so
on that.
I agree. It's interesting because I'm working on this piece that I've been working on, and it talks about I'm dealing with the violent nature of Urugu. And I'm laying out that since Urugu been on the planet Earth, Urugu have been engaged in violence, aggressive, destructive, obliterating violence with themselves. With themselves. When they're not destroying one another, they're destroying anybody else that's in their peripheral. Right? So African people, we got swept up in their peripheral when they started trying to get out that ice, that Europe.
Yes.
They stumbled across us, and the first thing, and something else we got to clarify too. I got to go ahead.
Okay.
We got to stop solely thinking that Europeans didn't have a concept of difference in terms of race. Like we keep on focusing on what, Blumenbach and all of them came up with in the United States of America, right? But if you go back and read some of the journals of the people that was traveling with Henry the Navigator, like they talk about it. When they saw African people, they automatically was like, they saw a difference. And on the basis of the difference system, they said we're going to mistreat these people. If they wrote this. And we're talking about in the early 1400s. Just before the 1700s. They was talking about this. So we got to be very clear. When we got caught up in their peripheral, those people sought to destroy us. They sought to, and they kidnapped us initially, and they took us, back over there to Lisbon and places like that. And we got to be clear about that. And it goes back to your point. We must be students of history and understanding who they were, who they are, because they are their history.
We need to know.
They are their history.
The
clearer you are about their history, the clearer you are about who they are.
Yeah, this whole thing about all white people are not bad and all white people are good. There's some we got to put context on that. Sure, there's white people out here that's not bad and not all not all good and stuff like that. We understand. But the fact of the matter is that until we pick ourselves up by our so-called quote unquote bootstraps and finally get our act together, we can't take no chance with somebody who's acting and talking the game. There's no way you can tell me as a white man that you're for me, because first of all, are you willing to commit the ultimate sacrifice for me and my people? How many of those do we have walking around? You know what I mean? So until we get to the point where we're at a point where equality is a thing, and we talking about many generations from now, where equality is a thing, where race is not a thing, then we can talk about that kind of stuff. Right now, we're not there.
No.
We're not there. We're not there to trust. You shouldn't trust a smiling face and somebody talking all that good Gucci shit to you. You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be there. Not as an African, you shouldn't be. Unless you're just one of those people who have not done justice to yourself and did your research and at least educate yourself on what's going on.
We it goes back to when we say NGAA2, which is our way. Culture is political and culture is ideological. We understand it. It's political in a sense because culture should serve the best interests of the people of their culture. That's the basis of it. Culture is what it grounds us, it protects us, it solidifies us. It serves as a life system for us, our culture. And when people have been removed from their culture, they don't have a sense of what it means to be political. So their analysis of things are off. Like, we can't make an analysis of world events or world affairs from a personal perspective. I can't make an analysis from how I see me detached from all the rest of my people, right? The analysis must include us as a people, because what I have suffered individually is connected to what we have suffered as a people.
Yes.
Right? There is no suffering of me individually devoid from my people, right? Because I am my people. And so we miss that when we start trying to make these analysis about individual European people, like a European person, right? And as long as we keep on trying to make an analysis or an adjustment or an assessment of a European person and use that as a measuring stick to gauge our situation as a people, we're going to always fail. Because that's politically incorrect to do so, right? Because the analysis is flawed. Because that person that you are talking about or trying to utilize as the measuring stick to make a point about a conglomerate of people is flawed. Because as a conglomerate of people throughout the world, they have behaved the same. Historically, they have behaved the same. Right? When you look at them collectively, they have behaved the same. You know what I'm saying? We're not worrying about an individual, what an individual may say, how an individual may feel, whatever. That doesn't impact us as a people. What impacts us as a people is what these people have put together collectively and how they benefit from it. I remember listening to Dr. Maulana Karinga one time. He made this very, very valid point. He spoke about the perpetrator, the collaborator, and the beneficiary, right? Which is true. He said you're going to have the actual perpetrators, and then you're going to have the people that's going to collaborate with them, and then you're going to have the people that benefit from it. So the beneficiaries is no different from the perpetrators. Right? I'm going to tell you what, think about the American government. They do it all day long. When they run down on black communities and lock black guys up for selling drugs, you see what I'm saying? One of the ways they press them, they lock the parent up. And they say, well, you're guilty by association. You had to be selling drugs because you know he don't work, but he buying all these cars. But this parent ain't sold no dope. But then you locking my mother up. As what? Guilty by association. So if it applies on that level, then why don't it apply on this collective racial level?
Exactly. Very good point. Very good point. We're going to close it up in a couple seconds here, a couple minutes here. I look at our people as being almost like a mythological tale. Now, I wrote it down. There's a movie called Kwaidan, Kwaidan. It's a Japanese movie, and it's about, and it's actually it's a trilogy. It's like 3 or 4 movies in there. It's about their spiritual system, and this spirit is a spiritual system. And this one particular story is about a blind guy who worked in the temple, and he did menial tasks in the temple, and he didn't know nothing else. It reminds me of our people. He never educated himself, didn't know nothing about outside the temple, and he just did what he was just a happy-go-lucky dude, talking about calling his the priests in the temple masters and stuff like that. So he was a musician. So he's out on the temple steps one day, and a spirit comes up to him, right? And every night this spirit visited him and was giving him lessons and talking about life and stuff like that. And he got comfortable with this dude, with this spirit. And he says, well, I want you to come back with me one night, and you can play your instrument for our emperor. It just so happened, and of course, Japanese mythology, these are all dead people, But it reminds me of our people, where we are really deaf. We are deaf, dumb, and blind all together. And as soon as somebody comes up to us with a real good story, we're ready to fall. We're ready to go all in. It sounds good, especially from a Yurugu. Oh man, I'm all in. Man, he must be nice. let me go back, just like this blind dude did. Let me go and I want to play the guitar for, or my instrument for your emperor, and I want to be in with with you great people. You know what I mean? And the whole thing was that if he had, well, the priest finally found out what was going on, that he's being possessed by the spirit.
Okay.
And they said that if he had went back one more night, they would have used him as a sacrifice. They would have killed him. You know, as their, what they call, like some call every 10, 12 years or whatever, or the anniversary of their defeat. It was a naval and an army, and they had everybody died. So they was, commemorating their battle. And the priest said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to, put a spell on you and put everything around your body. These like almost like Meta Nestor, the Japanese, characters all around, so that way the spirit won't see you. So when they come back the next night, they won't see you. But the dude missed the dude's ears, right? So when the spirit came back, all he saw was the ears, and he took the dude's ears off, and then went back. So even though he didn't end up, dying like that, he, for the rest of his life, he was just, they called him Hochi the Earless. So that's actually the name of the story, Hochi or Oji the Earless. That's when you go look at the Qui-Gon, look at Oji the Earless. I got the dude's name wrong, but look at the Earless. That's the name of the tale. So our people reminds me of that. You know what I mean? With Urugu, man, we just believe any kind of a tale. Get fantasized by it. It's exotic. It's new. Oh man, I never, they can't be wrong. They're not gonna harm me. But there's always a back door. You know what I mean? There's always a condition. Why they're in partnership or bringing you into this whatever it is that they want you to be a part of.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's always repercussions that's going to result.
They move they always have an agenda.
Right.
They're never not without an agenda.
Right.
Like whatever they say, whatever they do, it's always some shape from a fashion design to benefit them.
Right.
I don't care who it is.
Right.
And if we're not clear about that, we're always going to be victimized and
Right.
utilized and manipulated. And that's what's happening.
Right.
Our genius will always be exploited by them. They will always find a way to exploit our genius because we're so caught up on trying to prove, that one of them are good. That's what we're doing. We in a rat race to prove that Urugu is good.
Right.
And that's what's happening.
Or we're living in a different time.
That's right.
Yeah. And history never went wrong.
Yeah.
And even now, this like I said, just end of the 23, going to 24, you got your evidence right there. Even though they're fighting each other, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
No matter any kind of conflict, any kind of war condition. They don't care about the civilian losses and stuff like that. They're going to do what they need to do to break your back and pick you to your knees so they can exert their will. And that happens to be Israel at the moment. Could be anybody. And Russia's doing the same thing with the Ukraine.
Oh yeah.
Same thing. Same stuff. Nothing's changed.
And they're the same people.
Right. Yeah, the same people.
They're the same people.
Yeah,
but
same
that's
people.
the whole point I'm trying to get us to understand.
Yeah.
This is how they relate. This is how they get down.
Right.
And as long as we are on the scene around us, they will always deal with us with the same level of violence in all of their systems. Like even if you look at their systems, I was explaining this, their systems are also so violent. Like the economic system is based in violence.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You think about it. Everything about everything that they have put in place is violent. It's
Right.
aggressive.
Right.
It's not about peace, harmony. It's not about, good. It's clash.
Right.
Like their social systems. You know what I'm saying? It's about what? It's about the survival of the fittest. That's their thinking. That's their mentality. You know what I'm saying? So the person that comes to them trying to be genuine and being nice to them, you weak. So they're gonna run on top of you.
Right.
They're gonna try to take advantage because they don't process nice.
Nah.
Or kindness.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? Morality. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that we use to them. You know what I'm saying? It don't make any sense. So they're gonna try to run roughshod over that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you can go through all of their systems and find how it's not designed to bring about any type of harmony. Only destruction.
Right. Exactly right. So I think that's pretty much it, man. I want to just run those, you know how we are, man. We don't. It's not always about trying to be the smartest person in the room. It's about educating our people to contemporary issues, looking at stuff in a very contextual way, so that they can relate to what we need to do. And the best way to do that is to lend and give structure and direction and foundation to our people. Urban philosophy and NOMO is definitely a good way. A matter of fact, is an excellent way of doing that for our people. And I expect that anybody who's looking at the video will actually go and hit you up on your inbox,
Yes.
I guess, and order the books. And of course, you know, you see me on my Facebook page, Mkuu Mzee. You want to get the book Art of Leadership, feel free to do that as well. My brother, it's been a great.
Oh, yeah, great.
Appreciate you, man.
No doubt.
Thanks for coming down.